Okay, the interviews keep on coming, and it's great to have next on my show and podcasts here in the UK and Europe. We have CATLEA joining me on my show to chat about her latest single and much, much more as well. So, welcome to the show, CATLEA. How are you today, and whereabouts in the world are you right now?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. And currently, I'm actually in Norway. We're on a week trip, a quick visit to see some friends.
Nice. So, firstly, can you just tell me and my listeners how long have you been performing and recording music for in general?
Whew, that is a difficult question. I've been professionally performing for a few years now, for about 3 years now. And I've been recording music since I was 17, so for a bit now. But I've been involved in music for basically my whole life.
Great. And what instruments do you play, if you do, when you're like recording, composing music, and when you're on stage as well?
Yeah, it depends, on the song, on the, uh, the way that I'm writing each individual song. Sometimes I compose with other instruments versus, the ukulele is one that's really easy to write on if I just want to get something out quickly. But the different instruments I tend to play and use either in performing or writing or recording would be ukulele, like I said, piano, guitar, um, sometimes bass, sometimes saxophone. Of the ones hard to dampen enough that it doesn't just blow out the sound. So a lot of different
Yeah.
things, but
Would you
whatever parts I can do myself, I have my team fill in the gaps.
Lovely. And would you say would you consider yourself a multi-instrumentalist in that sense?
I I feel like it would be remiss of me to pretend otherwise. Definitely,
Yeah.
I play multiple instruments. I'm not the best player in the world at every single thing, but I definitely play a few instruments.
Right. And you have recently released a new single called Why Them. Can you indulge to me and my listeners just a little bit more information about this record?
Yeah, so Why Them actually comes from a bigger album that I just released called Language Barrier. It's the second track on the album, and the album itself is a concept album about what I went through, going through this breakup of this relationship that was just not right, and all of the feelings and emotions that came with going through this toxicity with this person, and the way that I got out, and the way that I leaned on other people for support, and all of this stuff. And with Why Them specifically, that song is the starting point of when I start to realize I'm allowed to question what's going on here, but I'm not ready to leave yet. So I'm just talking throughout the whole song about how it's all because I don't know how to do anything. I'm all immature, and I'm sort of making fun of myself playfully throughout the song as I start to realize, well, hold on a second. I would be it would be smarter if I wasn't in this situation.
It's it's quite fascinating how one can write life experiences into song.
Yeah, I tend to exclusively write from my real life experience. I find it easier than trying to create something spontaneously with no grain of truth. Um, which I keep saying in interviews, and I keep saying I'm going to regret that one day when I write something that I don't actually want people to think is real. But yeah, it's a fascinating thing taking the feelings that you have and the ideas that you have in your head and putting them on paper and realizing that there's a way to turn it into a beautiful song or
Hmm.
something that you're really proud of. It's
And
very magical.
on Why Them, how would you describe the sounds on this record? Would you say it's kind of got a pop rocky, grungy edge to it, maybe?
Yes, absolutely. I would say pop, like pop, indie rock. It that's definitely the vibe of the song. It's one of those songs where you listen to the words and you're like, oh, this is kind of like hard to like if you were just reading it, it's like, oh, that's kind of sad, but then you hear the song and you're like, oh, I want to dance to it. I'm not quite sure how to feel about this.
And if I stand correct, you have a new album called The Language Barrier, that's released on 6th of March here in the UK. What can listeners expect from this debut album if it is your debut album?
It is indeed my debut album. You can expect a concept album, like I said, about this relationship that I was going through that was just not healthy, in the way that I got out of it and the way that I processed my emotions through that whole experience. And it's it's pretty experimental. Some songs are very different from others, but overall, I would say it's a very strong indie pop, indie rock album. Um, and generally speaking, if you tend to feel in any way, or if you've ever felt in any way like you don't know if people understand you, you feel like you can't get your feelings or thoughts across, and you just want to be able to communicate better, Language Barrier is probably going to be good for you to listen to.
Certainly we'll take the listener on a journey then, a musical journey.
Hopefully, yes. I mean, I've definitely tried to create a story from start to finish with the
Mm.
album, so listen to it all the way through, I guess.
Yeah. So Why Them is out now and also the Language Barrier. I just wanted to touch on some of your past single releases because you released a song called Crumbling. Can you
Mhm.
just tell me a little bit more about this record? Because it has achieved hundreds of thousands of clicks on streaming platforms throughout.
So that one's also on Language Barrier, actually. That one was the first one that we finished for the album. And it is actually a song I wrote when I was, I believe, 16 or 17. It just hadn't made its way out until we finished this album. Um, so that song, it's another case of I'm kind of playfully talking about like my own faults and my own issues and stuff. Where I started off really sad, going like, I don't understand how I got here. I just want to get home. I want to get out. I feel trapped. And then I laugh. And then the song picks up a beat. And it's another one of those playful, like I'm figuring out my emotions as I go through it
Yeah.
situation.
And of course, Bones as well. Is that one of your proud achievements? That song, it's got kind of an intriguement to the title of it.
Yeah, I thank you. I am very proud of that song. I think that one is
Mm.
probably the one that I'm most proud of on the album, especially because it's the most recent one that we finished. It was the last one that we finished, so it's more fresh in the mind. Um, that one is particularly, it really hammers in the point that I'm trying to make of, a happy instrumental or upbeat instrumental versus kind of heavy topic. That one is literally about not being able to move on, being so sick of talking about it that you just pretend it's all right. But it's also
Right.
very funny too.
A great song that is. And I wanted to ask, who have been your influences and inspirations like over the years and decades?
Oof, so many people. It ranges from everything from Pink Floyd to Ariana Grande to Paris to Calandra to Young the Giants. Heavier things as well, heavier musicians like Bring Me the Horizon, although clearly that doesn't always come through in my music.
Mm.
Um, but I listen to as much music as I possibly can, and I listen to what makes each song so great, as a way to figure out what I want to try and what I want to do
Mm.
next. So the list is truly endless in terms of
And
inspiration.
as an artist, do you find like listening to other music as well, other artists, helps you with your creativity and ideas?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's kind of exhausting sometimes when I'm listening to music because I'm always thinking about each individual rhyme and the melody and the time signature and the way that they hit each syllable and the story that they're trying to tell and how would I do this differently? I can't help it. It's just compulsive, honestly.
Yeah. And looking ahead to 2025, I know we're into the last quarter of 2025, but you've performed some gigs already this year. I believe you performed at the Camden Club in London. How was that experience of getting on stage there?
That was honestly a magical blur of a night. It was very fun. It went really well, even if there were a couple hiccups here and there. Like, for example, I was wearing press-on nails, but I didn't apply them correctly. And so before I even got on the stage, half of my nails had fallen off.
Uh,
Um, but everyone had a really great time. We turned that into a bit. We turned all the other little hiccups here and there into fun discussion. Maya Beth, who hosted it, did a phenomenal job. She was amazing, super kind, super sweet. Andrew Hart at the Camden Club, he was an absolute sweetheart. He made the night wonderful. Mark Adams at Blinding Talent, who is the reason we got to do the event. He is amazing. So happy that I get to work with him and every member of the band. It's so amazing as well. I'm so lucky to have the whole team that I did, and it was just a wonderful, magical night.
I did see some stories on like, where social media looks like everyone had a good time, a lot of smiles. That's good to see.
Yes.
And
Yes, it was.
a lot of venues here in the UK as well struggling, and live music venues closing down. Do you think that's sad to hear as well?
Of course, of
Mm.
course. It's always sad when more music venues close down rather than open up. I mean, it's my job and it's my passion and it's the art form that I love the most more than anything. So of course, sad to hear, but I just hope that, it creates more room for new venues in the
Yeah,
end.
because here in the UK we had a shopping centre which recently got just completely closed down, and across the way there was a HMV, massive superstore, which sells like DVDs and CDs and puts on live events. Thankfully, that didn't affect that superstore, but in the paper they were saying it did. So there's a sigh of relief that that record shop wasn't affected during the closure here in Birmingham.
Yeah, that is a huge, huge relief.
Yeah, so hopefully you never know, you might be able to perform there. You never know.
I would love to come to Birmingham. I have friends in Birmingham,
Yeah,
so
nice. Great. And also when you play in live, do you play solo, or do you have like a other musicians playing with you just to give you kind of that backup maybe?
oh, it's interesting because for the most part, yes, I play with just one other person, my guitarist Max Shirley, who's just a phenomenal, amazing guitarist. He can do literally anything. Um, but actually, at the Camden show that I did, I had a full band behind me, and that was truly incredible. The band was mostly they're all from Barcelona, or they live in Barcelona, and they're all like family to me, and it was just a wonderful thing that I would love to have that full band experience every time that I perform, but it's still a pretty cool show when it's just me and Max.
That's amazing. And just a couple more questions to go. Do you have any amusing or quirky stories you may wish to share with my listeners? You know, it could be musical. You've had like a once in a while experience. Doing what you do.
There is such a long list of things that I experienced that are wild and ridiculous. I mean, like I said earlier at my show, I literally had half my nails fall off before I
Oh,
even got on
right, yeah.
stage. Right after that, also my shoes kept falling off, so I just ripped them off and threw them at one of my friends off the stage. I had not actually met that friend in real life before. We were online friends. He came to my show, and the first thing I do upon seeing him in real life is throw my shoes at him and say, "Keep these safe." So honestly, from start to finish, I could tell you about any string of days that is just absolutely wild. But
Yeah.
I think the Camden Club moments are some of my favorites for sure.
Yeah. I guess being in this industry as well as a entertainer, artist, and other fields as well, no day's the same. You just don't know what to expect, do you?
Exactly. Everything is constantly chaotic, and I honestly thrive in that environment. So it's fun.
That's good. As long as you enjoy, that's the main thing, and it seems like you do. And where's best for people to follow you on, say, social media? I know emailing lists are quite popular at the moment still, and official websites and streaming platforms. What do you feel is best where people can follow you on?
So the easiest thing to do is just go on whatever social media and type in CATLEA Creates. That's CATLEA Creates, CREATES. Or you can just type in CATLEA into Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming platform you use, and you'll find my music there. But on my Instagram and a couple other platforms, I have my link tree, which just takes you to everything. So that's the best way to find me.
Nice. I just want to say thank you very much for your contribution on today's show. I think that's everything I wanted to ask you for today, and thank you for answering, my questions, like so concisely and openly. And also, me to do really is introduce your new song onto my radio show. Would you like to just kind of like introduce it on personally yourself?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me, first of all. Yes. And yeah, I hope that everyone enjoys my new song, Why Them? It's one of my favorites that I've written.
CATLEA, special guest on today's show. Thanks again for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.